This is the first ever live draw, and in the past and previous tournaments, we've actually had this done on the day of or on the night before. So there's ample time for teams to be prepared in advance who the opponents are going to be. Not only that, we've also got the 5th anniversary games. We've got the gala dinner. There's so much excitement to be contained, and inshallah, we're looking forward to welcoming each one of you into this beautiful city that never sleeps.
So guys, we're going to have a competition, and the competition will dictate who is going to host Umoja Games 2016. So in my pocket...
So basically I knew that I know Mustafa well, and I live in New York, and he told me that, without telling me where the tournament's going to be, he said that they're doing a very unique style reveal video. And he told me there was going to be a competition. So I was like, okay, but you can't obviously bank on the competition to figure out where it's going to be. So he's like, no, it's going to be like a little bit of acting. That's really all the background info. I remember getting there and seeing all the other people that he invited, and I was like, oh, I didn't know you were going to be here. I didn't know you were going to be here. People didn't realize that at first. I showed my mom, and she was like, how'd you miss this shot? And I was just like, no, you're supposed to. I thought it was interesting. It's something different. You know what I mean? It's not just a one graphic poster where you say oh, Toronto or wherever, Minnesota. It was very different. If you really were curious about Umoja, you got to watch that whole video.
There was a real charm because this was the first time that Umoja was looping back to its roots, where we started in 2012, and we were almost coming back home. We had covered Allentown, we had covered Orlando, we had gone to Toronto, and we were doing full circle. And coming back to New York, there was a different buzz and energy about circling back, and New York became just gigantic at that moment, and our numbers skyrocketed. And I think that's when Umoja took to another peak in terms of games and sportsmanship and the tournament itself.
The thing that we learned from Toronto and the issue with permits, we tried to make a do with New York and find a facility that was perfectly kind of central. But then because of the permit issue, we did a lot of homework and a lot of networking and a lot of building relationships with the department to actually then make sure that we get the permit in the end. So we started to work at it almost 7-8 months before the event, just to get our word in and they see what organization we are, and then to end up actually successfully getting the permits that we need.
I received a call from Brother Mustafa in 2016. He explained Umoja, and it was my job to sort of put a team together for Umoja from the Afghan community. It was challenging, as I mentioned, but Alhamdulillah, we were able to put a team together and participate in the games.
That was the first time, I think, after Toronto, we saw that all the divisions have potential, toddlers, everything, and we're like, let's make this huge. And then New York was like, look, we can see the bridge. It was like the skyline of New York. It was perfect.
So when I got to Randall's Island, first of all, I was like, this is actually insane. Seeing the facility was awesome. When you think of New York, you think of the city and big businesses and stuff like that. And you don't think that you'll find this under a bridge, huge facility like this. And it was awesome to think that we had that entire place to ourselves.
One of the beautiful things of Randall's Island is that we're out in the middle of the river, so we've got these gorgeous panoramic views of Queens, of the Triborough Bridge, the Hellgate Amtrak Bridge, Manhattan, just gorgeous skyline views. But one of the requests we got, which was the first, was that for some of the women's divisions, we needed to shield the fields so there would be a little more privacy.
And then 2016 they moved it to New York, and it was actually the first time the women got to play outdoors. I think it was really, really cool. It was a really interesting adjustment. We felt a little bit more like professional. The field was a lot bigger. The rules kind of changed. Our formation changed. It was really cool. It was a really fun experience.
I think having those tarps around was like really well like private. So even like all the participants and like the mothers and stuff, they all felt comfortable over there, especially because they could pick up their jobs and stuff. And we had like that guard standing outside. She was so amazing. Like she would make sure that no guys would come in. She would be guarding it properly. And we're like teaching her things along the way. So that was really nice.
I still remember asking Wally, how the hell are we going to know how much tarp to buy?
Right.
And, this is where Wally comes out with like something that I didn't even know existed. He's like, I'm just going to measure it.
They're like, how much tarp? I'm like, okay, we need 50 rolls of 100 foot by, I think it was like 10 feet high. And they're like, are you crazy? And I was like, no, I Google measured this.
It was definitely a different animal. I think it had its own challenges, but it was also a lot of fun. It was kind of nice to play outdoor without any, without anything on the sides, where you have a lot of like people walking by and stuff like that. You kind of got the full effect of like the sidelines and stuff along those lines.
All right, before the tournament, it was sunny, but the rest of the tournament, it rained a lot.
I still remember we were like, we were all hiding under like the few tents we had.
Yeah.
And at one point, we just said, this is not going anywhere. You
Yeah.
might as well embrace it. And after that, it was a blast. Like we actually had fun. I mean, it was really, really fun. Like to go through with this.
My favorite memories actually came after the event when we were cleaning up. What happened was that it was raining quite heavily, but there was a group of us that were dedicated to get everything cleaned up. The best part of all of this was working with my mentor Neyu. We even got to pray beside one another. After the cleanup was done with the rain and my clothes all soaked and whatnot, we all went out we all got some food. And then I had to catch an early flight the next day to Toronto with my clothes still soaking wet and running on only 3 hours of sleep.
That was the introduction of the over 35 category.
Again, I mean, I love my kids and I love the boys to play, but if I get to participate as well, you can't beat that. I mean, I can't compete in the men's. They're young, they're strong, they're fast. I don't belong there. And when you created this category, it was a dream. Honestly, it was just the perfect setting where we get to get a few games in with us oldies and have a great time and laugh and it became very social and it changed the whole aspect of everything.
The way it was done very professionally, and it involved some of the young people of our community, some of the women who were really driving force of that whole thing, which was amazing, not surprising, but very amazing to see how they were involved in this whole thing. And Umoja by 2016 had evolved into ladies tournament and kids tournament and seniors. There were all different levels of tournament going on.
Allentown for the past 2 years had been losing in the finals. Like they got to the finals and they just could not beat the Toronto team. It was just an ongoing rivalry. So in this penalty shootout, it really meant a lot to the Allentown team.
The kids were confident. They've been practicing previous. We're fortunate that all the majority of the players play club ball. So I felt that they were ready, they were focused, and they were excited. I mean, I think they were confident taking these shots. They took the shots, and I think it was relief, feeling the great feeling of this accomplishment of winning, and then I think it was just excitement.
It's good. So we'll see if he takes the penalty, what he does. We've just picked up a wallet. Amir, I'm a neck here. You can come to the help desk. All right, let's go. Toronto. And there we have the video of the week alone that has been posted. So just to announce the winners of the U14 and U10. Anyone wants to guess? The trophy stays in the US this time. Sorry, Toronto. We don't know. Now we are making a new one. We the Alright, we're going to have the men's final right here. If everyone can please step aside, there were bleachers, the rain has been...
The finals coming in, I remember walking onto the field holding one of the kids' hands, and I looked around, 1,000+ people watching, legit feeling that rush like, damn, this is what it feels like to be a professional. And those guys playing in front of millions, I'm playing in front of thousands. Still a crazy moment for me. I remember that game going in. Obviously, we wanted to win. We didn't get the result we wanted, but me making it to the finals with these guys was obviously memorable because we had busted our butts off to make it.
I remember for the skills contest being in the hotel, like we were with Rashid, and there was a few of us who were in the hotel room calculating with Natasha. We were literally tallying up every sheet of the skills contest all the way till like 3-4 a.m. in the morning, just so that we could get it all squared away because it related to the playoffs the next day.
And the motivation for the skills competition was, well, I believe it was to highlight the talents of the players, let them compete one-to-one as opposed to just team tournament style, and to impact the seeding. It clearly was to impact the seeding, but it was our first attempt. It was a bit of a trial and error, and I think we learned from it and we adjusted the following year.
We had the 5-year anniversary, so we had that U Gala for the first time at the Science Museum, which I thought was fantastic.
I still remember. I think it was Natasha, Sherman, and I. We were looking everywhere, and we found this place. They were available, and we just locked it in. We basically, kind of just said, we're going to do this. We had no idea how it was going to come together.
To the cramped cars packed with 3 to 4 different generations.
To the sleepless nights devising a strategy to defeat that arch rival.
To the groups of people who make a voyage across the sea to join our Umoja family.
We salute you, and we couldn't have done this without you.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was the wow factor in that gala, definitely.
So in my house, Umoja, this is the first year I've actually been involved in Umoja. And again, it started with the academy, and they are very, very patient with my busy schedule doing planning stuff. But they are so excited to be a part of anything that they can be a part of. They want to help with everything. And whether they're the most athletic or not, they just love being around the excitement that Umoja brings.
I think there were too many favourite memories, but 2 really, really come to mind when I think of Umoja games. The first is when 313 gave us their treasured ball. And of course, the second is that small moment when we won and brought football home.
It was extremely well organized, which is the key in having a good tournament. So because of that, it sort of made all of us happy and convinced that we should participate in future Umoja games.
No, I think it was definitely a great year. Learned a lot, in New York. Learned that we needed to keep it even more closer, right? Because even though the field was 5 minutes away, 3 minutes away, it still was a little bit of a challenge for people to get to. I thought it was a great atmosphere, different ages. The talent was just getting better and better, and it was really good to see.
Never ever had we hosted before in a city remotely. Usually we would have one of the board members present in that city, but Chicago, we cut our wings and we said, let loose and fly.